Well, hello and welcome to the J. Sterling Hughes Show, where we share the secrets and the strategies of how we are building a rapidly growing law practice. Over the past 9 years, we have grown from 0 attorneys to 25 and doing over $15 million in revenue. And my purpose here is to document what's working and what's not working in our practice with hopes that you can take that and you can recontextualize that to your practice and shorten your success curve. And today I'm talking to lawyer leaders, law firm leaders. I'm talking about something that all of us don't always like to receive, but is always going to be there, and that is criticism. And criticism comes in so many forms, from so many angles, and I have learned and observed over the years that if you are going to accept a leadership role, if you're going to have influence over others, if you're going to start a firm, if you're going to own a firm, whatever the case is, if you're the top leader, if you're in any position of leadership, you are going to be criticized. And often, the most criticized person in a firm are the leaders, and especially the top leader. It comes with the territory. You can't accept a position of leadership or responsibility of leadership without also understanding that you are going to be the subject matter of criticism. Let me tell you something else about that. Most of the time, the leader is the last to know about it. That's the way it works. And if we're insecure around that, we have to look ourselves in the mirror and understand that your insecurity is going to limit your leadership. It's the number one thing that holds leaders back is insecurity. And if it doesn't at least limit your leadership, it probably will end up preventing your leadership from ever being effective, or even for you of getting in a leadership role at all. So the problem is this: the higher we go in leadership, the more criticism that we are going to receive. It's human nature. We've done it ourselves. We've engaged in that. All of us have been critical of other leaders at some point in our life. That comes with the territory. So there are two kinds of criticism. There's the unfair, off-base, malicious sort of criticism, completely made up and fabricated type of criticism. Sometimes that stuff hurts. It calls into question our character, our integrity, our motives, and is painful. There's the other kind of criticism that has sometimes a thread or an element of truth to sometimes being completely true. And having the wisdom to distinguish between those two different types of criticism is something that is acquired through years of leadership and practice and understanding how those around us, how we operate as humans. So over time, I've found that there are 3 ways to deal with criticism as a leader in a law firm. And these are the ways that I try to deal with criticism when it comes my way, that I've seen be very successful for others around me deal with criticism that they have received. The first is, it starts with you. You have to know yourself. And what I mean by that is you have to know what you're good at and be frank about, hey, I'm not so good at that. Because when that criticism comes, and if it's critical of something that you know, man, I'm really good at that. That's one of my strengths. I like to do that. And you're criticized for that thing that you're good at. That's painful. That really hurts, because it's like, if I'm good at this and I'm criticized, then I'm not good at anything, because I'm not good at a lot of stuff I'm criticized for. That's hard to deal with. Conversely, if you're criticized for something that you know that you're just not great at, that's not one of your strengths, that's not some place that you add a lot of value to others, that's much easier to handle. Also, when you know you're good at what you're not good at, when that criticism comes, you can sift through it a lot easier. You can take the stuff that's enabling you to grow from and kick the other stuff out. It's not going to help you get very far. So that's the first thing. The second thing that we can do as lawyer leaders to handle criticism well is to make the changes that we need to make. Because that sometimes, a lot of times, that criticism or feedback comes, there's some gold in them there hills. And there's some ways that we can improve from that criticism and feedback that we receive from our team. So we have to accept responsibility to change first. We got to own it. It's got to come from a well of maturity inside of us and see the wisdom there, make the changes, not be defensive, not bow up, not push back, not criticize back because we didn't like what we heard, but to get the truth out of that and move on. Because you hear this a lot where people say, don't take criticism personally. And okay, the reality is we will. And my way of thinking is take that criticism personally. Understand that it's a personal attack on you. That is the case sometimes. Someone wants to personally attack you and pull you down to their level. That's the nature of it. But the point is, you got to get over it. Take it personally, get over it, move past it. Because dwelling on it, getting sucked into that drama and that orbit of negativity will not help you. And so take the criticism personally, understand that it's a personal attack, call it what it is, and move on, because that's the only way to healthily handle that sort of thing. But when there is positive or there is criticism and there is truth within that criticism, look for it. Understand your critics. Understand who's giving that criticism, that feedback, where it's coming from. Understanding the source of that. And a lot of times those people they do have your best interest at heart. They want to help you. They want to win. And they want their leader to get better. So they will give feedback that will help you improve and get better. Also, when it does come and it's unfair or it's partially unfair, always take the high road. You will never, ever regret taking the high road when you receive criticism. And oftentimes it is wisest never to respond at all. And I know what you might be thinking, like, look, if I don't respond, it's going to stick out there. They're going to know that they're going to think it's true if I don't give some sort of response. No. A lot of times, take the criticism, smile, nod, and move on. That is oftentimes the wisest way to handle criticism. You don't have to respond to every critical remark that comes your way. All right, and the third way that we as law firm leaders can and should respond to criticism, and that is to focus on others. That criticism hurts the most. It pulls us down the most and gets us into a funk the most when we stay focused on ourselves. But if we can focus our attention on our team and others around them and helping them get better, that criticism that negative stuff in particular, doesn't have anywhere to latch onto. They can't plant a root inside of us and harm us further. And so if we're able to focus on others and put our attention on helping them grow, helping them get better, handling and fielding that criticism becomes so much easier. And what I've learned also is that in so many cases, the person doing the negative criticism, they don't even believe it themselves. They're saying it because they feel social pressure to be a part of a group, to be accepted, to be liked, to be in the in crowd, or whatever the case is. That's human frailty at work. And a lot of times it's just not personal toward you. You are the target because you're the top leader and they want to be a part of the group. And so they'll go along with it, they'll add to it, they'll wallow in it and all that sort of stuff. They don't have the maturity not to at this point in their life. So understanding that it's often not meant to hurt you. It's often meant to be a commentary on where they are at as individuals and people and in their growth and their maturity, or just to help them feel part of being with the group or whatever the case is. And as we all know, a critical spirit says a lot more about the person with the spirit than the target of their criticism. So I hope that those tactics and strategies are really helpful for you in dealing with criticism as a leader, is that if you know yourself, you could handle criticism a lot better. If you make the changes that you need to make and you move first, your team sees that and you build influence with them, and understand at the end of the day that if you focus on others, if we put our attention on helping out others and our team win, criticism is so much easier to just let it roll off of our back and move on. Hope you have a great week.